Welcome to Insights for Positive Living. I've been talking about embracing divine help. Now, every one of us, sometimes or another in our life, we need help. Sometimes the help we need may not come from a friend, or it may not come from a colleague, or it may not come from those we expect it from. Sometimes it's not a matter of financial help, but there is something that is beyond us. In other words, we may find ourselves in situations that seems to be bigger than us. And there is what is termed divine help, meaning that there is the need for a supernatural intervention into our affairs. Divine help is a release of God into our affairs. It is where God miraculously intervene and cause a situation to turn from the negative to the positive. It is where something uncommon occurs. An issue that looks so big all of a sudden is melt into zero, into naught. You are designed to embrace the miraculous. You are designed to embrace the supernatural. Now, there are two types of supernatural, or two kinds of supernatural. There is the positive and there's the negative. The positive is that which relates to God. You see, God is an eternal being, meaning that God is not limited by time or space. God is not a God that has a birth date and an exit from this life, which is death. That God is a God who is eternal. Eternal from the standpoint that he is a spirit. And as a spirit, he carries a life. But that life is not human life, it is a supernatural life. And that there is none like unto him. In Deuteronomy 33:26, he says, there is none like unto the God of Jethro, who rides upon the heavens to help. Is there a situation in your life that needs help, divine help? Right where you are today, let me say, the God of divine help is present. He's present to intervene. No matter how difficult it looks, or how big that circumstance seems, God is able to do exceeding abundantly above all that you ask or think. The complexities of life does not master the source of the universe, who is God. Because, you see, God is almighty. So there is no situation that is superior to him. The God who rides upon the heavens to help. Meaning that the God who is supreme is able to help you. Whether it be an issue of your career, whether it's an issue of unemployment, whether it's an issue of lack of finance, whether it's an issue of missed opportunity, whether it's an issue of a conflict in relationship, whatever it is, the God who helps is always available to help you. But there must be an attuning to this divine flow. Since God cannot be seen with the natural eyes or touched with human hands, there must be the release of faith. Faith in the divine activity of God. Faith in the divine flow of God. Faith in the awareness that good is present. That God is present. Because you see, God is the source of good. And when you believe that God is present, you are actually bringing him on the scene. One of the covenant names of God in the Old Testament was Jehovah Jireh, and still is Jehovah Jireh, meaning the God who provides. The God who provides. In the actual sense, when Abraham had a revelation of God as provision, he named the mountain Jehovah Jireh. It was at that point that he was called to offer his son as a sacrifice, but God provided a ram instead, and he called the place Jehovah Jireh. That name actually also means the God who sees before I see, and will supply all my needs regardless of opposing circumstance. Regardless of what you're facing, God is Jehovah Jireh, the God who sees before you see. You see, you may have only discovered the need, but God knew that the need would be there before it came. In other words, God had foresight of that need. He had foresight of that circumstance. He knew what you would be facing. That moment of discouragement that comes, and you had not anticipated it. That challenge that shows up in your life, and you did not know that it would come. But God knew. Because he knows the end at the beginning. And you need to embrace the awareness that divine help is always present, and that you are never left alone. That God is the support that you need. Now someone says, but that is just being religious. Now you see, regardless of what your religious belief is, let me say that God is Almighty. And God is the one who is above all. And when I talk about God being Almighty, I'm talking about that God is more powerful than anything you face in your life. And that within that very God is the solution you need for everything in your life. Whether it is a sickness, God is the healer. Whether it's a lack, God is the provider. Whether it is conflict, God is the solution, the peace you need. Whatever it is that confronts you, if you need wisdom in a situation, then God is the God of wisdom. You know, in James 1, it tells us in verse 5 that if any person lacks wisdom, let him ask of God, who gives to everyone liberally, freely, generously. Whatever it is that you need today You can tap the source of the supernatural. You can tap the livingness of the Almighty. As a matter of fact, you are existing because of the God who rides on the heavens to help. You may have not recognized it, but your whole life consists of the life of God. Your whole life exists as a result of the sustaining power of God. Now, man, in his own mindset, in his own thinking, from his own human perspective, often feels that he does not need divine help. Someone says, I'm educated enough. I'm bright enough. I have the skills, the abilities, the human functions that is necessary to succeed. Why do you tell me about God? I am financially capable of taking care of myself, of my needs. I do not need God. I have whatever I need on a physical level. But beyond all of that, there is a vacuum in human life. There is a search for something beyond the natural. And that is the search for the source of life, and that is God. Today, I know that God is reaching out to you. You can embrace Him as the help you need. When there are confusions of thoughts, when the mind does not seem to produce the answers, the solutions you need, remember this, that God is a present help, as Psalms 46:1 says, in your time of need. The need is not greater than your source. Your source, who is God, is greater than your circumstance. God is a spirit. And those who believe in God, they have spiritual inputs. There is a spiritual fusion that takes place. There is a spiritual infusion where ideas begin to flow in and through your life. Creative ideas that brings about solutions. Divine empowerment that causes you to rise out of whatever you're facing and to face your world with confidence. The power that rises within you and gives you the strength to face up to the challenges of life and to declare, I am bigger than what I'm facing. I'm greater than what I'm facing. God is on my side. God is with me now. I am able to overcome whatever it is that has been set on my path. I am divinely empowered. I am a child of the Most High God. I believe today that something I've said has affected you positively. And I believe you are empowered to succeed, empowered to receive that divine help. Until our next telecast, remember these words, that your destiny is not left to chance. It is a matter of choice. You can choose your future, and your best days are before you. They are not behind you.